Sophie had been struggling with depression for years. It felt like nothing could lift her out of the constant fog that surrounded her. But one day, she saw an ad for a local animal shelter that was looking for volunteers. She decided to give it a try, hoping that spending time with animals might help ease her pain. As she walked through the shelter, she saw all sorts of dogs. Big ones, small ones, quiet ones, noisy ones. But then she saw him. A scruffy little terrier, sitting quietly in his cage, watching her with big brown eyes. "Can I take him out for a walk?" she asked the shelter worker. "Sure," the worker said, unlocking the cage. "He's been here for a while. Maybe a little fresh air will do him good." Sophie took the dog, whose name was Rufus, out into the sunshine. At first, Rufus was shy, sticking close to Sophie's side as they walked. But as they wandered through the park, something changed. Rufus started to wag his tail, sniffing eagerly at the trees and bushes. Sophie felt something shift inside her, too. For the first time in a long time, she felt a glimmer of joy. She smiled as Rufus tugged at his leash, his little tail wagging so hard it looked like it might fall off. Before she knew it, the walk was over. Sophie brought Rufus back to his cage, but as she turned to leave, she found herself hesitating. "Can I come back and walk him again?" she asked the shelter worker. "Of course," the worker said with a smile. "He'd love that." And so began Sophie's routine. Every week she would come to the shelter and take Rufus for a walk. Sometimes they'd play in the park. Other times they'd just sit in the grass and watch the world go by. Over time, Sophie started to feel like she had a purpose again. She would wake up in the morning, excited to see Rufus and spend time with him. She even started taking him on longer walks, exploring new parts of the city together. And then, one day, something amazing happened. Sophie decided to adopt Rufus. She couldn't bear the thought of him being in the shelter any longer. Rufus became her constant companion, following her around the house and curling up next to her on the couch. Sophie still had bad days. Depression doesn't just go away overnight. But now, when she felt the darkness creeping in, she had Rufus to turn to. His wagging tail and silly grin were enough to remind her that life was still worth living. Subscribe to Flash Motivation for more videos.